that have literally ended in seconds. He's fought legends, Klitschko, Usyk, Ruiz, Ngannou.
Biggest shot I have seen live.
I'm not gonna lie.
Frame with Oleksandr Usyk's team. So I don't know if that means Oleksandr Usyk per se, but Oleksandr Usyk's team. I have no issues with that at all.
In the build up to this, if this is a real legitimate fight, Jake Paul is absolutely crazy. If not crazy, he's super brave.
I understand, and you're never going to hear us saying, "Oh, this is an amazing fight. Oh, it's good." I think AJ flattens him, right? But if
you've got to find the belief in yourself, not in somebody else's system. You know what I mean? It's like Usyk's team might show him bits and bats of stuff. He doesn't box like Usyk. Can they train AJ to be similar to what Usyk's doing? AJ, you've got to pick out the best of what AJ does, and you've got to pick out the worst and improve the worst in him.
I think it's a good fight. I think it's a real 50-50 fight.
I'm a little scared. Jake Paul finally admits what everyone already knew. This isn't confidence, it's a confession. Talking about adversity, talking about hitting the canvas, he knows what's coming. When the man across from you is Anthony Joshua, fear isn't shameful, it's inevitable.
Because he's underestimating me, I think everyone else is underestimating me, and I believe that I hit harder. I know it's gonna be tough. I know I'm gonna have to fight through adversity. I know I might even go to the canvas. I'm scared, don't get me wrong, but it's not about the fear stopping me. It's about going into it even though I am scared, and that's what...
When Anthony Joshua says they'll know where to come and fight the boss, he isn't guessing, he's declaring. The way he repeats fight, fight, fight shows exactly where his head is at. He's not talking about fear or adversity. He's talking about getting back in the ring because he can't wait. That mindset alone separates him from Jake Paul instantly.
Are you really going to do this? Abso-fucking-lutely. Are we going to do this? For a record payday? To go in and spark Jake Paul before we start the serious stuff in 2026? Don't tell me what we should and what we shouldn't be doing. Answer the question honestly. Would you do it if you were AJ? When are you going to fight a real fighter? It goes well out the window, and I will have to personally provide a wheelbarrow so he can bring his cojones into the ring that night.
Jake Paul tries to lean on Tyson Fury's words as if that guarantees anything. He repeats smart man Tyson like he is trying to convince himself. A million quid prediction does not change the reality that standing in front of Anthony Joshua is nothing like hyping yourself on camera. Confidence borrowed from Tyson will disappear the moment AJ lands clean.
At least my good old friend Tyson Fury believes that I can win.
If Jake Paul fights Anthony Joshua, I'm putting £1 million on Jake Paul. I want some free money.
Smart man, Tyson. Smart man.
Tyson Fury calling Anthony Joshua spent force is Tyson being Tyson, but it does not match reality. Saying Jake Paul would knock AJ out because he likes his heavyweight look is pure chaos talk. Jake being on the rise means nothing when AJ has destroyed real world-class fighters. A bit bulky does not save anyone when Joshua starts unloading.
Don't know about chewing up. I think Jake Paul knocks him out.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Why so? What impresses you about Jake Paul?
I just think Jake Paul would knock AJ out. I think AJ's a spent force, and I think Jake Paul's on the rise. And I like his new heavyweight look.
Billy Nelson calling it a joke shows how little credibility this matchup has in the eyes of real boxing people. When he repeats absolutely pulverized, it reflects genuine belief, not hype. He knows Anthony Joshua's size, power, and professionalism are on a completely different level from Jake Paul. The tone in his voice is certainty, not opinion. To him, there is no scenario where Jake survives the physical gap.
Make of that joke. It's just money in it. It's just for money. Because he'll get absolutely pulverized by Big Joshua. Pulverized.
Derek Chisora keeping it blunt as always makes this moment powerful. When he says AJ has to kill him in 3 rounds, he is not hyping the fight, he is stating the expectation of a top heavyweight facing a YouTuber. The part about Nightmares Forever shows the stakes for Anthony Joshua's reputation. Losing is impossible for him. Winning brutally is the minimum requirement in Chisora's eyes, and that pressure reveals the true mismatch here.
I will say this to AJ. Don't let that guy knock you out, because that will be fucking nightmares forever. But 1 or 2, put it this way, AJ has to kill him in 3 rounds.
Dana White saying that's a bad idea twice shows how reckless he thinks this matchup is. He admits everyone will watch because they know exactly what they are tuning in for. The moment Jake Paul finally faces someone who can truly hurt him. His tone suggests inevitability. Fans expect a reality check, not a competitive fight. When Dana says people will finally get what they have been waiting for, it sounds like he expects a brutal lesson delivered by Anthony Joshua.
Oh, Jesus. That's a fucking bad idea. That's a bad idea. But let me tell you what, a lot of people watch that one.
Will you watch it?
Sure. You know what everybody's tuning in for on that one. I think everybody's going to get what they've finally been waiting for.
Tony Jeffries breaks it down perfectly by acknowledging that technically anything can happen, but immediately following it with absolutely not shows how unrealistic Jake winning actually is. His description of Anthony Joshua as an absolute beast and a highly skilled professional highlights the true gap. He even praises Jake's ambition, but still admits he didn't want him to take this fight because he knows the result will be damaging. When he says bite off more than you can chew, he sums up the entire situation.
Going to win this fight by knockout. You would think I'm absolutely crazy, right? But the thing is, it can happen. 10-ounce gloves, heavyweight, Jake Paul can punch hard. But do I think that's going to happen? Absolutely not, mate. Anthony Joshua is an absolute beast, an unbelievable, highly skilled, highly trained, highly experienced professional boxer with power in both hands, and he's really good at finishing people off. And even though I really take my hat off for Jake Paul for taking this fight, I didn't really want to take it because of what's going to happen in the result of this fight, and I want to keep on this Jake Paul train. I think he's doing great, and I love his ambition. I love that he's trying to become a world champion and following his dreams and believing in himself. But at a certain point,
Michael Bisping lays out the reality of this matchup with brutal clarity. He explains that Jake Paul might prove critics wrong unless there is some funny business, which already hints at how unlikely a genuine win is. More importantly, he highlights the lose-lose situation for Anthony Joshua, because beating Jake brings no credit while losing would be catastrophic for his legacy. The comparison to Tommy Fury exposes the absurdity of calling this competitive. Bisping's tone shows respect for AJ's position and disbelief at the idea of Jake actually threatening him.
The balls, he was man enough. He was willing to test himself. He would prove everyone wrong, all his critics, like me. By the way, I'm not like out there on an island by myself. Everyone says the same thing, and he would potentially prove all of those critics wrong. Well, yeah, he would, maybe, unless there's some funny business, right? And for Anthony Joshua, as I said, this is kind of a lose-lose, right? Because if he wins, people are still going to say, well, you only beat Jake Paul, right? The man that lost to Tommy Fury, after all, right? That's the only loss in his record, Tommy Fury. You're telling me that Tommy Fury is going to beat him, and then Anthony Joshua's not going to beat him? So if he beats him, he gets no credit. And if he loses, then holy sh**. Can you imagine? That would be the biggest downfall of any boxer's career.
Eddie Hearn points out exactly why Jake Paul is in over his head. Watching him think he can knock out Anthony Joshua shows just how misled he is by the people around him. Hearn compares fighting someone like Canelo or Gervonta Davis to facing AJ, and the difference is staggering. One is humiliation, the other is total decapitation. It is a warning for anyone underestimating Joshua and shows how dangerous it would be for Jake to step in the ring thinking he has a chance.
Got that many people around him that I wouldn't be surprised if he thinks he's got a chance against Anthony Joshua. You know, Jake, I watched him, Jake. You'll knock him out. Yeah. It's like, you know. But, you know, there's a difference between fighting Gervonta Davis, even Canelo Alvarez, and then fighting AJ.
Duke McKenzie breaks down the reality of the fight and why it is so lopsided. Jake Paul might get a huge payday, but it will not earn him respect or credibility. McKenzie is blunt about the risk that Joshua can seriously hurt him and even put him in the hospital. The financial incentive is tempting, but the stakes for Jake are life-altering. It underlines how dangerous it is to underestimate a world-class heavyweight like Anthony Joshua.
It is his fight of his career. If he wants to get 100 million and not even break sweat, you know, you take the fight. Is it going to enhance his stock as the world's '1 contender? Not at all, because nobody's going to take Jake Paul seriously. But on the other hand, I don't even want to play devil's advocate. What if Joshua hurts this guy, seriously hurts this guy, and puts this guy...
Derek Chisora keeps it brutally honest. He acknowledges that the fight might be exciting for fans, but immediately dismisses any chance of Jake Paul landing a knockout. His prediction is chillingly clear. Jake Paul ends up in an ambulance. Chisora's assessment shows the reality gap between a social media fighter and a seasoned heavyweight. Joshua's power is enough to end the fight instantly, while Jake's bravado is no match for the experience and skill across the ring.
Whatever happened to be exciting.
Does he have the power to knock out Joshua?
Nah, he hasn't got the power to knock out Joshua.
How does that fight end?
Jake Paul going in an ambulance, bro.
What can we...
Jake Paul talks about challenge and pride, but his words reveal more about perception than reality. He admits everyone wants to see him lose and calls Anthony Joshua an insane fight. The DMs and his confidence show he is motivated, but they also expose how out of depth he is. Joshua represents a level of boxing, intelligence, power, and experience that Jake has never faced. This challenge might be brave in theory, but in practice, it's a steep, dangerous climb.
And so I like the challenge. People, that's the criticism. Fight someone in their prime, who's a beast. I think people just want to see me lose. That's really what the message is behind it all. And Anthony Joshua is an insane fight, but I want that challenge. We've been DMing back and forth. He wants to make it happen.
Tony Bellew's words make the danger crystal clear. He describes the fight as a gross mismatch and warns about Jake Paul's health being in jeopardy. Calling it ludicrous and insane emphasizes how reckless it is for Jake to step in against Anthony Joshua. Bellew highlights that chasing money over safety is a huge risk. This is more than hype. It is a warning from a former world champion that Anthony Joshua is on a completely different level, and Jake is walking into serious danger.
It's just a gross mismatch.
Yeah.
Like, you don't understand his health is in jeopardy. So, I'm not even entertaining it. I just think it's dangerous. And listen, I might have to work it, but it's just...
It's kind of ludicrous, isn't it, really?
It's insane. This boy is nuts. Is nuts, and I think he's putting his life before he's putting his life before money.
Yeah.
Tommy Fury puts the fight in perspective with brutal honesty. If he can beat Jake Paul, the level of devastation Anthony Joshua could unleash is unimaginable. Even with an injury, Fury believes Joshua could finish it in under a minute. This shows just how far apart they are in skill, power, and experience. Jake Paul's confidence does not match reality. Every statement here emphasizes the huge gap between a social media star and a seasoned heavyweight champion.
But if I can beat Jake Paul, then excuse my French, what the fuck is Anthony Joshua going to do to Jake Paul? I think my dad said that AJ could beat him with his prick, and I completely will back that up. Even if AJ had a broken arm in there, it still wouldn't.
Johnny Nelson separates hype from reality perfectly. He admits he would choose Jake Paul for financial gain, but calls into question the legitimacy of the fight. Nelson praises Jake for what he has achieved in the boxing world so far, but underscores that this matchup is not about skill or fairness. Money is the driving factor, not competition. This exposes the mismatch while still acknowledging Jake's cleverness in building his career and leveraging opportunities.
If I was at this stage of his career, I'd take Jake Paul. I'd take Jake Paul because there's more money there. If it was real, I don't think it's real. I think it's bullshit. I think Jake Paul I think it's bullshit. I think it's Jake Paul has done an amazing...
Logan Paul makes it clear that Anthony Joshua operates on a level that leaves Jake Paul completely exposed. Referencing the knockout of Francis Ngannou highlights just how devastating Joshua's power is. Logan's words show disbelief and concern because any previous bravado from Jake disappears against a true heavyweight champion. Every ounce of hype Jake carries evaporates once he steps into the ring. The reality check is brutal and undeniable, reinforcing that Joshua's in a class far above anything Jake has faced.
The Joshua thing is crazy.
Is that a real conversation?
Jake's a fucking lunatic, and it's probably real. I saw Joshua knock out Francis Ngannou, and the guy was like out cold for 5 minutes. And this is a guy who had never been knocked down, let alone knocked out.
If he steps in the ring with him, and actually a bell rings and there are punches thrown, every bit of Jake Paul is not a real boxer conversation is gone forever.
The stakes in this fight could not be higher for both men. Anthony Joshua comes in as a seasoned, two-time heavyweight champion with power, skill, and experience that Jake Paul has never faced. Every analyst, fighter, and commentator agrees that the gap is massive and that Jake is taking a dangerous gamble, chasing money over safety. Even if he survives a few rounds, Joshua's precision and strength make the outcome almost inevitable. This fight is about more than pride or paydays. It is about legacy, power, and proving who truly belongs in the ring. Are you backing Anthony Joshua, or is Jake Paul going to shock the world? Drop your thoughts below.